Hey traders, this is Christian Farmer. It's Tribeca Trade Group with just a quick end of the day recap video. And it seems to be the death by 1,000 cuts market continues for August. It's kind of been like this all month long, I would say almost, but just really tricky market to trade. We're kind of seeing the same patterns repeat over and over. I think just is it a surprise? No, not so much. I think this is generally how choppy markets work. It is a little bit frustrating that we keep opening on the highs and getting sold off pretty hard. So it's almost like danger, danger every time that we are up a little bit pre-market. But it's the rest of the world. I think that's kind of bringing us up. I mean, it's very difficult for you kind of look at what's going on globally, and it's very difficult for us not to come in. I know that they said that there were some political things, which I don't really buy, that caused the futures to be up this morning. I mean, the Hang Seng's up 1.2%. The DAX went green to red, which also caused, a little bit of move in what we experience in the markets. But, I think we're starting that way because right now, international markets, which gets very little press coverage, is they're doing better right now than our markets right now. So we're in definitely a lull here. Today was a little bit different than yesterday. Even though we're seeing this kind of action, it looks pretty ugly. I almost wanted to short the Qs today. Right around here because really you look at the momentum names and they got hit pretty hard. So you got to remember the Qs, which were just down about 30 basis points. You look at the movers for the Qs today, and it was some different names that kind of brought it up. It was a lot of the airlines, which I'm going to talk about the transports in 2 seconds. But if American Airlines and a couple of the names that had earnings, if those weren't up so much, really the FANG stocks got hit pretty hard, and it looks like they're being liquidated. I mentioned this pre-market, which I think I still have in here, but here's evidence of liquidation going on in some of the FANG stocks. So $140 million taken out of this TOKE ETF. What's in this TOKE ETF? It's a lot of momentum names. It's not all momentum names, but you can look at the holdings here. You can kind of see what I mean. It's Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Google. You add the two Googles in here. It's a little bit of everything. So there is a liquidation going on in some things. So we'll just have to kind of see how it plays itself through. But you kind of look at FTN, which is the U.S. internet name, closing on the lows today, down 1%, where S&P finishes up 20. So it looks like some kind of a little bit of maybe of a funding trade going on, where selling's getting out of some of these names. While I don't really see a kind of go back to the S&P chart, really don't see a hint of which way this is going to go yet. It's just a lot of chop. But you look in FDN, the Internet ETF, and this is starting to look a little bit weak. So right around the 50-day moving average, this is KWeb. KWeb was also one of the worst performers of the day. Just when this hit a 52-week high 2 days ago, you started to see some things like Alibaba get really sold off hard. Keep in mind, Alibaba has been pretty overbought, but that's been one of the star performers. JD.com sank back below the 50-day moving average. NTES did break the 200-day moving average. Baidu was one of the few that were strong in the group, and it gave back all the gains. So there was some Baidu calls that went up, but it's a lot of this. We start to get going, and things start to have a nice day, and they just literally get liquidated. So sorry to kind of end the week on an ugly note or bad. Morale type of day, but yeah, pretty ugly. Again, it's August, so momentum could come back into this market pretty quickly, but for now, it looks like there's definitely some more liquidation going on in these names. So transports, as I alluded to earlier, real strong day today. The airlines took them higher today, so still not back above the 200-day moving average, but these airlines literally have been getting obliterated. So they got really oversold. A couple traders took this went long AAL and Delta. So real nice move. They're still below the 200-day moving average, but nice to see them bounce. Some for a day trade. Retail, it seems like there's a little bit of a short squeeze going on in some retail names. XRT, had that big day on Thursday, even though it kind of gave back a lot of those gains like everything else. But retail was up 1.1%. Names like Home Depot did pretty well today, up close to 1%. So it's kind of a mixed market. Again, not everything is going down. Hence, the S&P up 20 basis points today. Small caps were up 30 basis points today. Again, just surprising looking at some of the bigger names that just haven't been performing very well. So that's it for I think you have to be on alert right now. Biotech, I would say, really frustrating to me too. Biotech, again, just seems like things just don't have the momentum in them. Very little follow through right now in some names. So XBI was up really nicely yesterday, but it gave back about 2/3 of the performance. I actually started a little position today on the weakness, thinking that maybe just an opportunity to kind of buy a little bit on the dip after this name took out the 50-day moving average or one above. So it's still above the 50-day moving average. A couple names that were interesting today, which I need to update this before the end of the day, but BHP was interesting. Verizon was interesting. There's a decent amount of Verizon calls. This was this is a telecom name that had real nice earnings bounce and little follow through, but it looks like somebody's coming in here. Some of these defensive names, not really the telecoms yet, but some of the defensive names like utilities have been performing pretty well. You have almost a doji candle for utilities, which were strong in the beginning of the day, but gave back a lot of another sector. Even the utilities couldn't hold on to the gains today, so made a high right around 1 o'clock and sold off. So, you know. So again, even in the utilities, a little bit disappointing if you kind of were playing a day trade if you didn't get out quickly. But they made another 52-week high today. Also, what was interesting today was the currency moves. The euro, which was strong all day, got another took another leg higher after Mario Draghi spoke. So up 1%. So dollar really looking weak. The euro took out the 52-week highs right here. It looks like UUP, which is the dollar ETF, just took out the lows. So really, really ugly. I would say for the dollar, it had a little bit of a bounce here, but new low in here. So it still hasn't taken out this. But it's pretty darn near close. So I think whenever there's a lot of volatility in the currencies, or in commodities, the U.S. market, the equities don't like that. It can continue to kind of trend one way or another, but if there's a lot of volatility, it does start to shake things up eventually in the equities, which is my opinion. All right, so that's it for today. So it was just about a little bit under a 10-minute video for the day. So we'll stay tuned. Next week might be another week of chop. It is a big vacation week on Wall Street, so it could be a little bit more of the same that we saw this week. And I think I continue to advocate in the Tribeca trade room a higher than normal cash balance and also trading a little bit less. I think it's a more difficult market right now to trade. So if it's more difficult, no need to kind of jump in like crazy and try to find opportunities that are just not there right now. So that's it. Have a great weekend, and see you back in the room on Monday. Thank you.